Happy Sunday, everyone. It's the Nitty Professor with another boot vid. Today I wanted to talk about Waxy Commander and Rambler leathers in heritage boots. These leathers are from CFstead, based on all my information, and I have 3 boots I wanted to talk about today, and I wanted to kind of talk about the care and feeding of these boots and some of their basic characteristics that makes them desirable. So the first pair I thought we'd look at is my Parkhurst, and I've done some videos on rough out leather, but I've never really delved into these 2 particular leathers, which are not really rough out and they're not smooth either. So I thought it'd be interesting to take a closer look. Now, they're both a shrunken leather. So based on my research, the Waxy Commander leather is shrunk by 25%. And that makes it very strong and sturdy. And it's still a little suede-like. But what distinguishes the waxy leathers is the fact that as they are tanned, they are packed and jammed full of oils and waxes in the name of waterproofing them. And in my experience, this process works really well. So this is a pair of Parkhurst that I have. See if you can see inside here. I'm not sure if the light will reveal that for us. Maybe. In any case, this is Parkhurst down in there. And yeah, there. Now you can see it. That's actually kind of nice. I kind of like their branding because it's subtle. And also gives you a chance to look at the inside of this leather. I mean, on the inside, it's really suede-like. So you can kind of see it. It's very comfortable. This particular pair, in particular, this is a little bit more forgiving leather than the other pair of Waxy Commander leather that I'm going to show you. But as far as recommendations on caring for this leather, so since it's packed with waxes, you're probably not going to need to condition them per se like you would a smooth leather. That being said, though, you may find yourself needing to replenish the wax. Depends on, how much you wear them and the circumstances. So I've read that it's very advisable to go over these with a horsehair brush. So I have here, this is actually one from Kiwi, which is fine. I have one from NYX. I have actually a few. I have smaller ones as well as this bigger one. And it's going to help you to keep the waxes in the leather as well as remove dust and particles and that kind of stuff. So it's a good idea to do this. I have very dusty conditions that I wear these boots in, so it's really important for me to do this on a regular basis. Now, as far as care, so putting a wax on the wax is the way to go. So there's beeswax. I watched a video that talked about something called a dubbin wax, which can work really well. And you can also apply those with a horsehair brush. I have this Smith's Leather Balm, and it does have beeswax in it. So I would probably be inclined, if, when I feel the need to recondition these babies, I would probably be inclined to use this leather balm because the second ingredient in here is organic beeswax. So that's one pair. There are 3 colors of the Waxy Commander. There's a mole color, which I'm going to guess that's what that is. And there's a snuff color. And there's one called Wheat Buff. And even though it didn't say it on the box, I just am going to assume that these Wolverine 1000 Miles have the Wheat Buff color. So this is also a waxy leather. Now these, I've worn them a little harder, and partly because of the color, it's just, I don't know, they just strike me as an old-fashioned work boot. The kind of boot that, you'd see an Amish farmer wearing or something like that. And you can see how rough this leather is. It's really got an interesting grain to it. And I have actually conditioned these. So when I got these, so it is shrunken, and that makes this leather really tough. These, like, you can see how this crease on the foot, I think is partly because of just the overall thickness and sort of almost hardness of the leather. And like I say, I have conditioned these, and I feel like I could almost stand to do it again. So it might be smart for me to put a really thick layer of this Smith's onto these 1,000 Miles. They have the leather sole and everything. They're really classic in every way. Take a look at the other one. You can just see how, you know, they kind of match the dirt, and just look at that grain. It's just, it's crazy. And it's got the waxes packed into it, but I often feel like this particular leather just needs more of a drink than the other, the Parker's. Now, I haven't had any problem with these as far as water, nothing intrusion of that, so that's a good sign. But I want to feel more wax on these boots when I'm holding them in my hands. And like I say, I've already conditioned them once, so maybe I need to do something that has more of a wax content with it. Now, these boots do have, of course, stitching and the Goodyear welt and all that. And of course, they have a leather sole. So for those smooth components, everything I've read has told me that you want to get the dirt off of those areas and use a traditional, like something like this. I've seen this recommended on several sites, the Venetian leather balm. I've also read that Big 4 is recommended. I'm going to say Truman is the site that actually recommended the Big 4 on this specific kind of leather. So that's another option, and I'd be really curious what you guys' experience is with that. Like, have you used the Dubbin? You know, there's like a hard wax that you can use, which is a little bit tricky because you have to kind of, you almost want to soften that with a hairdryer. You definitely want to, you know, have it be at room temperature and probably apply it with your fingers. Whereas a softer wax, something like this, you can apply with a designated horsehair brush. So I tend to use my fingers, but I can understand how using a designated brush that's specifically for that product could help you to really work it into the leather. So that's the waxy leather. Now let's look at the Rambler, which is also from CFstead, and it does have some similar characteristics. Again, this is a shrunken leather. It's literally a shrunken suede, and it's the flesh side out, so you can see all this wonderful like veining and stuff like that. Just makes it beautiful. The fact that it's shrunk, however, makes it super tough. And this is one pair of boots that I've struggled with more to break them in, partly because my feet are no longer all that young. We're dealing here with a Truman boot, and I like these. They have the designated Eugene sole. One of you guys saw these boots on a previous video, and you were like, they look kind of light. And I was thinking about that comment, and I was like, you know what? I think they're really dusty. So I don't always get to do this dusting immediately when I come inside the house. It depends on, you know, where the cat barfed or what braille work I have to do, etc. So but yeah, they definitely need a cleaning. Now, one way you can clean these in addition to brushing them is if you have a stubborn spot, you can use what's called a suede eraser, which I own. I didn't bring it out here, but it's like any eraser. It's square, but it's specifically made to erase, you know, things like this. There's a little, let me see if I can find it on here. A little orange spot right there. I could get out the suede eraser and I could probably buff that off with the suede eraser. It's a white color. I'm actually getting it off with my thumbnail here. But a suede eraser is a good thing to use on this. Yeah, I think I got it mostly off. So since this is not specifically a waxy leather, I wouldn't hesitate to use the Venetian leather balm on these. In fact, I have used actually, I might have used this. I can't remember. I have conditioned these boots once, again, just because I felt like they needed to be more supple. So I did that, and I think it helped a little. And they did drink up a fair amount of the conditioner. This one's also kind of dirty, so I'm going to go over this one. But the Rambler leather has a lot of really good characteristics. It's not as waterproof as the waxy, but because it's so tough and it's so shrunken, you know, it's you know, densely packed kind of suede, it is going to be really tough. It's going to wear hard, and it's going to be useful under a lot of circumstances where you know, a more casual type of boot is suitable. So hiking, being outdoors, urban hiking, which is a lot of what I do. A lot of what I do in these is dog walking. So in any case, isn't that beautiful? I just thought it'd kind of be interesting to look at these CFstead products because they're so unique, but they are fairly common in the boot world, and there are a lot of reasons for that, you know, with the waxy ones, the waterproof nature of it, the durability of it, and just the really cool look of these leathers with all the veining and stuff. It's just got awesome characteristics. It's going to be really hard to wear these out. They're a lot of fun to wear, and if there's anything that I've said that you want to build off of or take issue with, let me know in the comments. I really enjoy the opportunity to use these videos as a way to learn about the boots that I have and how to care for them. And this one needs attention on the edge dressing, so I think it's probably time to hit the leather balm on my welts and on the edge of these boots. So I might do that when we're done here. But yeah, feel free if you have any questions, comments. I'd love to hear them. I appreciate your tuning in. Hope y'all have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.